has been hit. What you niggas gonna do about it?
So, all right, we rolling. I'm Urban Nerds in the house. I'm here with Marvin Burrow. We're here to talk about some things that's going on in the media. Right now, everybody's in a frenzy talking about getting the so-called jab or the pepperoni pizza. You know, they cooking up that stuff in the oven. You know, they want you to get, you come and get 2 pieces, you get an extra buffalo wings.
Right.
You know, and a side of Mountain Dew. So the thing is, what I want to really run a series on and talk about is not about the pepperoni pizza or the buffalo wings. I want to talk about all the other things that's happening in the media and that's being published, but that's not talked about on the big media platforms. You have to go search for it. Things like BMIs, things like Darpa, things like Neuralink.
Right.
Removing certain genes from the body, nanotechnologies when they go into your body, things like things like that that's going on where they have certain mandates, where you can't eat, you can't eat the school lunch. You got to eat the lunch that's provided for them, or you may not be able to come back to work.
Right.
They got those kind of things, but at the same time, there's a lot of other stuff going on behind the scenes where they're not telling you. So as we start with this new technology of nanotechnology, what does that nanotech? Okay, let's start off talk about how they sell it. What is nanotechnology supposed to do when it go into your body?
Well, I can't really answer for straight. I could, but besides going into the body, you're talking about size and scale. So size and scale is kind of like if I say something's an atom thick, if I say something is quantum material. But nanotechnology just means ultra small. It's so small, it has the ability to move within an environment. It's kind of like if I asked y'all, as a human being, could you like just jump in an ant hole and just start moving around and performing tasks for them? You obviously can't because you're not on that level. In our body, there's bacteria and all kinds of stuff going on. It's a little, what they call a micro, meaning small, biome, which is biological life. So there's a bunch of small guys moving around and they interface with stuff and things happen. So nanotechnology just means the thing is so small that a lot can be done in a smaller area. So that's how we look at nanotech. Whether you want to call it nanotech, nanolipid particles, if we're talking about what's going on right now. So it's all about size.
How are they using nanotechnology and altering things in the body? Because I was reading, they can use they're experimenting. They're experimenting with using nanotechnology to cure certain diseases,
right?
To help with erectile dysfunction. They're also using nanotechnology to alter brain cognition, where they're speaking about how they can control emotions through the brain through nanotechnology. Now, I'm sure you heard about that, right? What are some of your thoughts on that as far as going into the 2030 plan, the 2040 and 50 plan, with the use of nanotechnology? How come you think it's not really being talked about widespread?
So I always like to tell people that new technology moves through generations. The elders, the old heads, what have you, they're going to always know what's going on. They're going to be the ones cutting the line saying, hey, y'all going a little too far, right? Because you can see what could be done with something. That's what age kind of gives you. Like, you have the ability to project and see further than the younger generation can. The younger generation can use all the new tech that they want. Like right now, people aren't really interested in self-driving cars, right? But a couple generations from now, if the children go to school and the first thing that's taken them to school is a self-driving car, they're going to grow up with it, and their parents are just going to flag it off like, well, that's for you and y'all young people, not for us. So just take what's going on in the generation right now and push that forward, and you're going to get the same thing later on. So in terms of that, if we're talking about the implications of nanotech and all these new technologies that are going to be used in the future, you're talking about, let's just give some easy examples. They keep telling you diseases are genetic, or the genetics affect whether you can or cannot have something. But for those of you who are learned, you understand that genetics in the human body is nothing more than a book in a library.
Right.
So if you have a library passed down to you and you run that library, then I know, right? Greedy today. But even though if your parents own a library and they pass it down to you, that technically means all the info in the library has become yours. You have access to it.
Right.
So if someone says, I need you to fix my TV. You can go find a book in the library, open the book up, take the time to read it, and do it. Well, in your body, there's a genetic scale. So when you have parents and ancestors and all that, everything they've done has been given to you. That's like
It's been passed down.
Passed it down to
Passed
you.
it down.
So basically, if you wind up in an environment or your body comes into contact with certain things, your body's going to be able to pull from its library, aka the DNA, right? And use that information to interface with what's going on in your body or around you as a person. So when you introduce technology into that, they're saying we are going to be able to control and do things with that. So it's weird too, because it's kind of like, okay, this disease or whatever exists in your environment and you catch it. We noticed that a gene in your body turned on and it's allowing your body to interface with that thing a certain way. But you never hear them talk about a person who doesn't have the gene but still comes down with the problem and their body still interfaces with it. The only difference between the two is this person's body had access to the library while the other person's didn't. And this is the implications of the new nanotech that they're using. It's the ability to say, can we do what the body does? But the dangerous part has always been when you interact with one thing, the body there's no one thing in the body that says I don't rely on other things.
That's what I wanted to get into.
Right.
Because when it talks about the dangers of nanotechnology, and we see that it says nanotechnology is a manipulation of matter on a near atomic level to produce new structures, new materials, and devices. Mm-hmm. Now, that term new, your body is operating on a way it was designed to operate. Right. So now they're putting a new technology in there to augment or alter the new.
Right.
Right? So now going into this 2030, 2040 plan where it said that we're going to be augmented. With all the stuff that's going on now where they pretty much forcing you to get the pepperoni pizza. Mm-hmm. What is inside of that pepperoni pizza or those buffalo wings, that special milkshake that they got for you, that may go into your body to prepare your body for the augmentation of the 2030 plan? Because this is public record. This is not something that they're hiding. They're basically telling you that we're going to interface you with Neuralink. We're going to add these things because inside your body, if you could tell the people, your body is a machine, a functioning machine. If I begin to implement foreign objects into your body, what's the first thing your body going to do?
It's going to try and fight it off.
It's going to try to fight it off.
It's called a foreign protein.
But if I hit you with some new pizza or a shake that will begin to on an atomic level, begin to produce new structures and new material in your body, when we hit you with the other shit, now your body's ready to receive it.
Right.
If you guys understand what I'm saying. You're getting all over the world, they're giving you, that on the menu, on the lunch menu, is pepperoni pizza, buffalo wings, Mountain Dew. And you may not want buffalo wings or pepperoni pizza or Mountain Dew. You might want a cheesesteak, but they don't got cheesesteak on the menu. And you got to eat their food. You can't it's not BYOB, it's not bring your own body. It's what's on their menu.
Right.
Or you can't eat. So now when you eat from their menu, when it goes into your body, what is it doing in your body? Because they're telling you, in order to implement these new technologies, you already have to be pre-augmented. Right. Meaning now they have half the planet taking blue pills to make your penis hard, right? So they taking things from a plant, but then they have things that's not natural.
Right.
That go and they combine it together in your body. What is that doing to the receptors of your body when it gets into your body? Well, just like a foreign steroid, it shuts down your natural LH and FH. And then you have to take basically Novadex and all kinds of other stuff to build it, to get your system back running, because your system shuts down because you have a foreign object in your body.
Right.
So now, when they say that they want to produce new structures and material, that's like terraforming the body. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's what it's doing. Yeah, you terraform the body because two schools of thought, right? In one person's world, in nature, right, everything's already good. Everything moves at the correct pace. In the technological world, in the current scientific world, not so much, right? Everything is trying to be sped up. They're trying to take principles of how our body works and just tap into the unknown. Start fooling with stuff. See what happens. Test this, try that, do this, do that. That whole thing. The issue you're going to always run into it when it comes to testing things is going to be what type of adverse reactions. You know, they like to use these different terms for it. But we got some company.
Yeah.
There's some people's coming in.
Yeah.
We're going to rock while the fam is coming, you know. So, come say hi. Nah. All right. Good. Hold on. You just got a couple minutes.
I already know you.
Yes, you do. All right. So let's tap back in. We were talking about the implications of them using the technology on our body. You mentioned how our body would respond. You put a foreign object into my body, and the foreign object will cause my body to try and defend itself because our body has to, everything requires a balance. Now, in the scientific world, you have to try things to see what happens before you can find out how to balance it. You got to go through the trials and tribulations and all that crap, right? So, I remember you asked earlier, it's like you were saying, what are they putting in? If you guys haven't done it yet, it's kind of out there. It's been mentioned, you know, in the circle before, but look up graphene oxide. So right now, the current technology being used on our body it involves graphene oxide. So what is graphene for those who don't know? If you just want to get a taste of it, take your number 2 pencil, scribble on a piece of paper, take some clear tape, the clear tape we always use in school, stick it on top of the mark you made, and then peel the tape off and look at the tape. You're going to see some of the lead on the tape. Now take another piece of tape, stick it against that piece of tape and peel it off. And then every time you stick a new piece of tape on and peel it off, take the newer piece of tape and another piece of tape and do it again and peel that off. Do that 100 times. And the amount of lead left on that last piece of tape is considered graphene. Now, how strong is graphene? It's about an atom thick. We were just talking about that in the article, right? It was talking about near atom size things. The reason it's important is because graphene, I'm trying to keep this simple for y'all. If you stack that little piece of graphene, after I told y'all take the tape 100 times on top of each other, and you now have a molecule of graphene. If you put 2 molecules of graphene together, they said that it has like the strength to hold an elephant on top of a pencil tip. That's how strong graphene is. We also learn over time, if you study graphene, is it's very electrically stable. So you can run circuit boards and systems and operations through it. It's small enough to be combined with nanotechnology. And again, nano just deals with size. So if we say nanotechnology, it's kind of like if I made a laptop smaller than your eye could see. That's nano size. That's nanotech. Okay? What else can nanotech do? It's so small that, you remember you mentioned Neuralink. So I want y'all to keep things like Neuralink in your mind.
It's right here.
Your eyeball size and shape, they can create an artificial eyeball using nanotech with graphene because it's electrically stable and it's so small, you can make the shape. You know what a beehive looks like? It has all those different hexagons. Mm-hmm. So the hexagon shape is the important shape. If you stack a bunch of those together and you make it with graphene, you can actually bend a lot of technology around really small things. So you can recreate an eyeball and make it see the way, you could probably make it see like your TV sees. That's how advanced it gets. Because remember, you guys got to combine these technologies. A TV screen is how well can we make a picture be viewed by a human being. So if we make technology of the eye, we would just use the technology of the TV to determine what the human being would see. If we take the technology out of a camera and combine it with an artificial eye, it can zoom like a camera. If we add in Neuralink, Neuralink can connect that same tech from the eye that happens in a TV and a camera into your brain, which means your eye will have the capability to zoom in on a thing and see.
Yeah, and so they can't just put this stuff into you right now because the body's going to fight it.
It would be a stressor.
Yeah.
Too much, too fast.
Right, and the body will fight against it. You just say, hey, we just want to use some tech and just put it in your body. Remember, your body's a machine. Mm-hmm. The body's going to say, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? You know, and so now what we have to do, we have to give you some pepperoni pizza. Mm-hmm. We have to give you some Mountain Dew and some cherry cola Pepsi and all that kind of stuff to prepare your body for it. We have to make sure it goes. We're shipping pizzas around the world. Mm-hmm. It's a new chain,
right?
A new pizza line chain that's going on around, and everybody's getting a slice. The whole world is getting sliced. And when you look at it, it says that I wanna go into this aspect of it. Let's talk about imagination, thought, and manifestation. We know, I don't want to go too deep because I know we want to do a live stream on it, but we know that thought and imagination are two different things. Right. They're not the same. Most people don't understand it. They're not the same. Imagination comes before thought. And they have learned how to commandeer your thought by controlling your desires. Right. Mm-hmm. But what we know is you could be in slavery, you could be going through certain things, and while you chained up or just in a bad place, you can always be imagining yourself outside of that situation. You can use that imagination, that unseen spirituality that you bring to the seen world, right? Through thought. Because you have to first imagine, you have to first have the image. Like imagination is the precursor to life's coming attractions. Right. You have to see it pop up and then think of ways how to create it, mold it, manifest it. Right. But there is nothing to think about if you can't imagine it first. Right. They understand this, right? Mm-hmm. So now they've controlled your thoughts, but they've never controlled your imagination. Right. So now if I can tap into your brain and get those signals, Minority Report, and all those different things, I can see you, I can see what you manifest before you actually physically manifest it. Right. And now I can control and operate. I can control and operate you. Now you are a full augmented robot. Right. Because everything, the very aspect of what you are is imagination. Right.
Yeah, I think people are y'all really got to put together all the different technology we're running into. The 5G, the medical tech, Neuralink. And I know we're throwing these terms out. So those who don't know what Neuralink is, what's his name?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk he's created a system where he can make your brain operate online. So whatever you normally would search for on a computer, you can just use your brain to directly do it. But I remember a couple of years ago, he said the only thing they don't have right now is they don't have a complete mapping of the brain. So they need a system that will map the brain. The way technology moves now, they could probably have that already. So just keep that part in mind. Like, things move very fast because of the current tech that we have. So once he has the ability to map the brain, then any human being that comes in, it'd be no different than getting an MRI.
Well, watch this, right? Watch how important this is. Mm-hmm. This is their definition of imagination. Right. The faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present in the senses.
Not present in the senses. See, not present in the senses. Mm-hmm.
The ability of the mind to create or resources, the part of the mind that imagines things, right? Right. So it's not the mind. It's not the mind operates different from what imagination does. And they can control your mind by physical things. Mm-hmm. The imagination is always running wild. But if I can link to your brain and link to those signals, we can now see the images. They want to be able to see the images that pop up in your mind on the screen before you even think of it. And this is the part that people missing. Some of this is too deep for people to go over people's heads because we don't really understand science. Yeah. Not the stuff that they're telling you, but the understand that you are the science. Right. There's no science without you. There's nothing without you.
No tech would exist without the human.
Without the human body. Without the human consciousness. None of this would exist. We wouldn't even be here talking if we wasn't in this physical consciousness experiencing. Right. So now they are constantly trying to understand what is consciousness, what makes consciousness moves, and what brings things from the unseen to the seen world. Because remember, the body so-called lays down to go to sleep. In your sleep, you can have a 10-inch pipe. You can be with the girl you want. You can be Superman. You could be all these so-called supernatural things in the so-called sleep world. Mm-hmm. But then when you come back into limitation, which is the physical, they're trying to understand how do we bring things back from that world to this world. meaning the clothes we got on, this floor, the computer. All these things came from the unseen. It came from the imagination, not the thought. The image popped up, and then you thought of things to make manifest. So now what they want to do is they want to control that.
Right.
If we can control your creativity, we can control you.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on, man. They listen.
It's such basics. Like, you guys don't have to go deep down the rabbit hole. You just have to look around you at normal things every human being sees and ask yourself, what can it be used for? This is how we know to jump up and say something when we see certain technologies and certain things being released and kind of being forced on us, right? Y'all get what I'm saying? So you have to y'all gotta be ready for that. You don't have to be a scientific. You could be good at what you do. You know, if y'all are like engineers, if you're construction workers, if you write business plans, you can do all that and still have a basic understanding of how things work. You don't have to be like what we would call ultra scientific or the expert. You just have to know how 2 + 2 = 4. And how technologies can be combined, so when new things get thrown out there at y'all in the world, which is something that George is going to be going over soon, when these new technologies get thrown out, the only thing your brain should be able to do is ask the questions of how those things can be used. And most of the time, the most common sense answer is how. So, like I said, if they develop an artificial eye, how well can it see? What's the best TV screen you've ever seen? And that would be your answer. Making moves.
So I'm pulling up this. Now watch this, right? Mm-hmm. Imagination versus thought, right?
Right.
So we have
Was it like quotes?
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Thought, form created in the mind, rather than forms perceived through the 5 senses of instance of thinking. So the senses is based off the experience of the physical.
Touch, taste, see.
Right. Thoughts is created in the mind. Imagination, the image making power of the mind, the act of mentally creating or reproducing an object not previously perceived.
Right.
See, that's important. Not previously perceived in the mind.
Right.
Right? The ability to create such images. So now, form created in the mind. Before you can even create the form in the mind, you have to first get the image.
Right.
See. The thought is the verb, the action now. Mm-hmm. But before you get to the verb, you have person, place, or thing is a noun.
Yeah.
So you have to get the noun first. It have to pop up in your mind. The physical object has to first pop into the mind before you get to the verb. The verb will be the action, form created in the mind rather than form perceived through the senses. Let's look at it. The process by which such forms arise are manipulated thinking, particularly construction of false images, fantasizing. Right?
Yep. Now
they'll use the term fantasizing, but through fantasizing come the physical reality.
Right. That's where we get the reason we call certain people, yo, what's up, God? What's good, God? The whole God concept, right? And how you're a small piece of that creator. You have the ability to take all of that's going on inside of the mind, the imagination, the thinking, and the thought, and produce a reality out of it.
This is where you get to the term of dreaming. Mm-hmm. You have to see yourself out of your current reality. The thought is the process of manipulate the process by which such forms arise from manipulating thinking. So you're thinking based off of your environment. Mm-hmm. The imagination is fantasizing out of the environment.
Right.
So this is why imagination is so powerful. See, because I can create an environment, right? And I can create desolation or bad things. Mm-hmm. And now you'll begin to think up in that process. Your thoughts will begin to be connected to your experience.
Right.
Imagination ain't fucking with that at times. Imagination is like, man, you start fantasizing, man, if only I can fly out of this place. Mm-hmm. Man, if I can blink out the wall and come out the other side.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Imagination starts to think of things and it begins to not think of things. picture things that thoughts can see. And then thoughts begin to find ways to make them things, to make them manifest. The action comes behind it now. There's an action behind it. Watch. Thought, a way of thinking associated with a group, nation, or region. That has nothing to do with imagination.
Right.
Imagination is creativity and resourcefulness.
Right.
Remember when you was young, they tell you, oh man, you imagine too much. They didn't care about you thinking. They don't want you imagining shit.
Yep. Which actually puts a limit on you as a human being. Yep.
Because you are infinite, 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 infinite. There is no cap on imagination.
Right.
So why am I saying all of this? These technologies wants to interface with the natural aspect of your science and take it away and control it now. They're not hiding it. Neuralink is saying, hey, we want to augment you up and make you faster. We want to make you like the computer. We have automation coming, and we need human bodies to be able to compete with the machines that we got coming.
So a machine will have the ability maybe to walk down the street. Remember, they're going to function off some sort of, we got 5G now, and we got Wi-Fi, and we got all these different ways of communicating. So we know if we can build a car that can do GPS and Wi-Fi, and why can't a robot be built to do the same? It's not hard. The system is not huge. You can put it within the robot and still have the robot the size of a human being. It's not a difficult thing to do. At least, like I said, this is the thought part, right? The person who probably imagined the robot did the thinking, and now we have a physical robot.
Here you go. Two more. Thought. Simple past tense and past principle of think. Imagination. A mental image formed by the action of the imagination as a faculty, something imagined. Remember, thought, simple past tense and past principle of think. So it's part of the experience. Imagine is something outside of all of that.
Right. Because of its random nature.
This is why we need to commandeer your brain. Because we can't understand imagination. We can't control imagination. Right. And probably even when they interface with your brain, they're still not going to be able to do it. Because the imagination, I would call it, is like the next step to the creator.
Yep, it's the feeding mechanism, right?
It's something that we all do.
Right.
But a lot of us are conditioned to not realize it.
Right.
So you have imagination, thought, desire, and manifestation. They seek to control it all. So they give you naked, scantily clad women. They give you cigarettes. They give you basketball. They give you entertainment. They give you all these things to commandeer your desires. So now we can commandeer your thoughts.
Right.
But not your imagination.
Right.
Because you're always constantly creative. That's how they're making money off of your imagination. Because you're conditioned to give all your creativity to them.
I always said that about universities and colleges. As much as I'm a big fan of going there and getting the experience, y'all got to understand that. And I'll just give y'all one example and get out your way of that process. When it's time to complete your final project, especially if you're getting a PhD, because I believe they make you write a dissertation, which is where you take something, you develop yourself. Now remember, you're in their university, so your property. The moment you come up with something, you present that paper to the professor, and you come up with some brand new idea, you get scholarships, you get recognition, but the name of the actual product goes to the actual university or college or museum.
I remember years ago, about 20 years ago, I had wrote like this little haiku or short poem, if I can remember it. I remember, and this was, years ago before I extended to where I'm at now in thought, but I'll try to say it exactly the way I wrote it. I said, God is love. Somewhere over a rainbow, he looks down on us as we manifest him through love and creativity. Through the hardships of life, we've lost our love, and now our creativity walks with unrighteousness. Right? And it's funny, when I wrote that, I never wasn't even thinking about this stuff that's coming. I'm going to say it again. God is love, which we are the full manifestation of the Creator. Somewhere over a rainbow, he looks down at us as we manifest him through love and creativity.
Right.
As we manifest him through our love and creativity, representing our imagination. We manifest the aspect of the creator by using our image, the things that's given to us to work down here in this physical reality.
Right.
Like we create everything to make our lives better, right? Or comfortable, or give understanding to our existence through our imagination, not our thoughts. Mm-hmm. It's through our imagination. Somewhere through the hardships of life, we've lost our love, and now our creativity walks in unrighteousness, i.e. the new technologies. We use it now to destroy each other.
Right.
We're actually the ones inventing these technologies that they're commandeering and now using it I'll scratch that from the record, not using it against the people. They're using it, they're voluntarily giving it, they give it to you, you're voluntarily taking it. Now you have to buy memory instead of using your internal memory that you always had. You have to go buy memory, and now if you lose your so-called phone, you don't remember nothing else because you shut down, like when I said when he took the steroids, you shut down your natural computer.
Right.
Because now foreign objects is being used. Because nanoparticles can jump into your skin too. Man, y'all ain't ready, man. Y'all ain't ready.
Think about it. These things don't come. These concepts don't come from nowhere. Of course, you guys are probably thinking like, oh man, how they going these little particles getting in my body and stuff like that. Well, think of a virus. How do they tell you they get in? Breathing pathways, cut skin, respiratory particles, right? These are the ways that things get in. They're just doing the same thing. Do you think, man, there was, might have been a TED Talks or something they did a while ago. This guy made it seem, it's kind of like they use the sneeze as a point of view. Imagine somebody sneezes and the mist that comes out usually is like, consider that to be like a little bit above nanoparticles. And them joints can fly and guide their way into your body. So it's like a smart virus, so to speak, right? You can have that kind of thing come out without me going so deep.
Look at this. Imagination. This is for all you nerds out there. Those that can comprehend. Those that can dig. The formation of a mental image of something that is not perceived as real and is not present in the senses. I can close the book and go home after that. Mm-hmm. They're trying to, listen, something that's not perceived is real. A formation of an image that is not perceived as real or presented or present in the senses.
That's like a human being flying, like with no technology on it. That would be considered something of the imagination. It's not physically represented. Nothing in the senses can calculate that. It's just something that's in the mind.
Invented planes that can fly because the brain, the so-called imagination, before it got to the senses, the image of that popped up somewhere, and then the brain said, go create that. Mm-hmm. It may be a period. Now watch this. When you go to sleep in your dream before Freddy Krueger comes to kill it, the Freddy Krueger effect, you can fly in your dream. You can run like Flash.
Yep.
So now Flash, listen, the mind didn't say draw Flash and create Flash from nowhere. Flash was imagined somewhere by somebody imagining running like that, or had a dream that they ran that way, and they took it from the spiritual realm to the physical realm.
Right.
And they said, in this limitation realm, I am not this body. This is limitation. Mm-hmm. But in the real world, which is the spiritual realm, that's why they give you the movie Freddy Krueger, where he wants to come kill you because he don't want you imagining. He don't want you dreaming. Mm-hmm. You better stay woke, because if you dream, I'm killing you. And you die in the physical world because now you manifest nothing.
Right. Because a lot of times to people's, plans and stuff like that they come up with, in the power structures, the governments and things like that, those plans have always included controlling things. Most of y'all still think this has been about money. It's never been about money. Money is a means to control. That's all. Hey, I want to make nanotech. How much is it going to cost me? So I go get the money, not because I love money. I go get the money because it's going to buy me the materials to get the tech that will control you. And if y'all are listening to what George is saying, if I commandeer thoughts, they're already working to commandeer thought. That's as simple as you sitting there trying to do your homework at home and a commercial comes on and you start looking at the commercial. That controls thought. You were thinking about a thing until somebody threw something in front of you. You heard a gunshot outside. Senses are attached to it, right? In imagination, the senses are not attached to it.
Look at this. Look at this. Watch this. For those of y'all out there that's watching, it's time that we get serious, y'all. For too many years, we've been giving away our creativity and our spirituality over to the system that's been making money and producing technologies based off of us because we don't understand. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read something else to y'all, and I want y'all to get it. I'm gonna be like, oh, this thing don't cut off. That's just, I think I got a certain period of time.
Nah, you were over 60, so you should be good. I think that was like a Facebook alert.
No, I think because of my recording, it says how much time that you can record before it stops. But we'll see.
Oh, we got that high quality going.
Yeah.
Should be good.
Now, thought. The process of thinking, especially thinking carefully. That's thought.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we got to learn how to listen to words, especially thinking carefully. That's connected to the physical world.
Right.
Because why would you, if you were out of limitation, why would you have to think carefully?
Right.
In limitation, you have to think carefully. Watch this though. Imagination, the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of eternal objects not present in the senses again. So imagination doesn't care about what's carefully or what's in your senses or what's in your thought.
Right.
I'm giving it to you right there. You figure it out. So now they're saying, damn, we got to figure out how to control this.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we at. So I don't have to talk about the pepperoni pizza. I want to talk about what they're not telling you. So they gave the whole world cell phones. Why? Well, we see now what happened. Remember back in the day, I don't know how old you guys are, but back in the day, when mom said, hey, what's grandma's phone number? You said SA4 1607. Like you knew the letters. Like you didn't need a phone book. You knew everybody's phone number by heart because you was exercising the brain.
Right. This is true. For those of y'all who go back far enough, we definitely knew a lot of things by memory. Now, you get mad leaving your house, forgetting your cell phone just like your keys.
Watch this. Watch this. Before we get out of here, I'm going to leave y'all with something else. Watch out. I need y'all to look at me. Now I'm in my Bishop Urban Nerds mode. Because now I'm ready to really get real nerdy for y'all. You know why there's no creativity or originality anymore? Because the technology is forcing, they're trying to take away your creativity. You're not sitting still enough. See, when we were young, we had to work to build everything. There was a lot of times you had to sit in the midnight hour and try to figure it out. Everything is a microwave. They're giving it to you without you earning it. Mm-hmm. Because they don't want you to sit for a while and imagine yourself into a reality that you create. They don't want you to do that because then you're going to create out of them. You're going to create yourself out of their paradigm.
Right.
So now we'll give it to you. Everything is given to you. It's overnight success now. And you're seeing a lot of kids that's getting overnight success without the wisdom to secure it and keep it. Right. See, because when you build and you're constantly imagining, the brain begins to think how to manifest it. And when you're doing the work to think how to manifest it, you begin to understand the work that you put in to earn it, right? Now you're responsible with it. But if I give you all these so-called technologies and I don't want you thinking, I just want you reacting, I want you to do what he's doing, I want you to do what no more originality and none of that. So now what we're going to do is even give you more technology and we're going to put it in your brain and all that's what's left that you actually do, we're going to take it. So now everybody sounds the same. Everybody's doing everything the same because he and she is no longer. And even if it's a he and she now, we don't even know what they are now. Because we even took that away too. We don't want you. Remember the term in the church, late in the midnight hour, God's going to turn it around? Mm-hmm. Well, God, the precursor to God, was your imagination. God is going to give you the ability to see yourself outside of that current situation. But what they did was give you technologies what represents Freddy Krueger. So now when you're in the late midnight hour, Freddy there with the goddamn claws. And he telling you, nigga, please, you can't think like that, man. He don't want you thinking no more. He don't want you imagining no more.
This is why the early part of the life and developing the child is so important. If y'all look at some of the other videos that George has been showing, and you see a lot of the people getting involved in crime, there's no foundation there. If they're, well, the wrong foundation. Because technically, if you don't feed a certain foundation into the child, the world will do it for you. So the gun crime mentality and stuff like that, that was fed into the child. There's no, they were born with this predisposition to kill.
It was programmed.
It don't work like that. Yep.
It was programmed into his thoughts.
Yep. And there was nothing countering it on a regular basis. Spending time, both parents if possible, spending time, having good community around, watching out for who your children hang with on the block. Because back when we grew up, people knew each other on the block, dirty laundry and all. So when you hung out with a certain child, the parents would automatically think about the parents of that child. And they would, because of that, they have seen that child operate in certain ways, and they're going to warn you, like, I'm not cool with you hanging out with that person or that person. But you being young, most of the time when you're a child, you're like, ain't nothing wrong with a man, they cool, they treat me like this and that. But you worried about you and their relationship, not the relationship that's going on outside of y'all. And in today's world, that can be very dangerous.
Yeah, and as we begin to wind this down, I just like to do, hold on.
And again, I don't want y'all to forget what I said earlier. When George goes over these things, when we talk about different things, you should always keep in your mind, how do things connect? Now, I can't say everybody learns like I do. For me, and I know a lot of Muslims have this principle too, knowledge must go 360. It has to be something that can comparatively move with the way that life kind of flows. It's got to be like useful information. So you always have to play balance, and you always have to connect things that you learn. You have to have something it connects to, otherwise it's hard. It's going to feel like you're constantly switching your mind up to think about things. But if it's always connected to certain principles that you have, you'll always be able to place things in a certain position and know where they belong. In this technological world, you got to think of it the same way. Like I told you earlier, they can make an artificial eye, but how do you know what it can see? You have to look at the technology that's based on vision, because everything we say comes out of the body. So if a TV is 8K, crazy scan rate, hertz, only runs on a little bit of electricity because you got green technology is a big deal, right? Then you have to know that if they create an artificial eye, they're going to tap the guy next to them who created the TV, or the guy who has the best TV out there, and say, how do I make this eye produce the pictures that TV can? Because people think this is very crispy, clean, really good looking. So draw connections when you guys hear things. Keep looking at how this plays a role in that, and this plays a role in that. Because now what I'm talking to you guys is about is thought. Because that's what this is about. To protect yourself, it's all about the thought.
I'm gonna do this for you guys to prove my point. Imagination, right? I want y'all to listen to this. It allows us to explore beyond the constraints of our environment and our reality.
Yep.
You know how dangerous that is for the powers, a lot of the powers that be?
That was an issue in slavery.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want, that's what I'm saying. That's why they give you the Freddy Krueger movie. We don't want you thinking, like not thinking, but then we don't want you going past thinking. Mm-hmm. We don't want you imagining. Because if you know how powerful, what if I start telling you the things that I imagine and then you start imagining? Then it's like an electrical current. It begins to go around the whole room. It allows us to explore beyond the constraints of our environment and our reality into a world of dreams where creativity and invention are at their strongest. Now watch this. It says into a world of dreams. When you are so-called in the dream world, which was when you really woke, because we're actually asleep now in the physical body. See, the way that they explain science, we're not woke now, we're asleep. We're experiencing what we brought from to the non-limitation world. Mm-hmm. We brought things from the unseen to the seen to experience.
Right.
But this is not a real place. It's a projected reality. Mm-hmm. It's a projection of an experience. That's why the body has to lay down and go to sleep at some time, because it has to go back to the original place for you to come back here to bring ideas back. So you bring non-limitation back into limitation to experience it in the physical world. Touch, feel, the senses. Mm-hmm. But in that world, I could be Michael Jordan in my dream.
Yeah. Because that's
I can get the girl in my dreams in my dream.
When you So if God is the all, and you're that small piece of God who can also experience the all at given times, right? When your imagination taps something and you bring a physical thing into the physical world, the one thing your imagination does not have prior to the physical world is the experience part. You don't know what a rug feels like until you touch it, but it doesn't mean the imagination can't manifest something there. So when you come in here and you manifest leather, right? We manifest a leather. When you touch it, you now receive the information that when you go in your dreams, you can do anything you want with it, even if you can't do it in the real world.
Look at this. Look at this. Last point. Watch this. This is going to prove my point. But the naysayers out there that think that they smart. Now I'm back in my urban nerves. Hold on. Let me get in my inner nerd real quick. I'm in my inner nerd now. I'm in Kakarada mode. Scientists, watch this. Scientists has long held the complex nature of imagination must evolve more than one area of the brain. Wait a minute.
He just told you that.
Oh, wait. Stay here, watch this. The idea and the proof has been hard to amalgamate. So they're telling you that, listen, they don't care about your thoughts or your senses. They want imagination, and they don't understand how to get it. See, they're trying to, they said, okay, we need to get this thing to operate from one part of the brain. But where it's supposed to be is where it is, because that's what created the reality that we living in. They want to manipulate imagination, but they can't. So the only thing that they can do is now interface you with technology. So now when your brain begins to shoot it, when it begins to shoot through your brain, they want to be able to intercept it.
Right.
So now they can go and tell you, well, yeah, we got it operating through your brain. No, you're not. You're intercepting the signals. They can see the images pop up on a screen somewhere, and they can say, oh shit, he imagining how to make such and such. Oh, we're gonna sit back and wait for him to, oh, he about to go do it right now. Go get it. That's your movie. They just told you right here. Science has long held the complex nature of imagination must evolve more than one area of the brain. The idea and that the proof has been hard to amalgamate, but recent studies using advancements in the monitoring of complex neural interactions.
The monitoring.
Hold on, let me just get that so you can get
neural interaction
within the brain provide new events for this theory. Go ahead, take it on.
Hold up. Let me say that line again. Monitoring of, go up to it. Let's see, it said, get y'all the exact terminology. The monitoring of complex neural interactions
within the brain provide new evidence for this theory.
Monitoring of complex neural interactions. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone here who's been down with the urban nerds.
Read this last part for you.
They know what the neurons are.
Because the findings. Right.
The findings from this study suggest that imagination uses a large portion of the human brain, creating an interconnecting network of activity across many different areas. Imagination really does light up.
Oh, wait. Did they say thought? Did they say mind?
No.
Did they say senses?
They said imagination.
They said what?
Imagination.
I ain't got to take this on, bro. I'm done. I'm done.
So what has just been proven here is, I would go so far as to say that imagination is the one thing that God gave us to keep us who we are connected to God. 1 second, guys. Yep. Imagination is the one thing that keeps us connected to God. Now, whether they can commandeer imagination, I don't quite think so. I think that's a little too godly, and it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be what it is. They can commandeer thought, and it's on a low level right now. Like I was saying earlier, y'all sitting there trying to do your work at home for school or whatever you try and do, and a commercial playing, you immediately start thinking about the commercial. That's not commandeering imagination when that happens. Imagination is kind of like when people see you there like stuck, and they be like, my man off in his own world. It could be for any given reason at any given time. But at the end of the day, imagination is that connection to God, that spontaneous ability to do anything regardless of limitation.
Right there. Let me read this and then you take it. People think we're crazy, right? It would appear that imagination is a uniquely human experience. It has allowed us to modify, not thinking. Remember I said imagination and thought is different.
Right.
They said imagination It has allowed us to modify and develop our surroundings and to create and invent new ideas, new structures, new technologies. Imagination also allows us the very human emotion and empathy, as we can literally imagine another person's life experiences without actually ever having experienced any of it. See, so did they say anything about a thought?
Nope.
So when somebody tried to tell you imagine a thought is the same, you don't understand science. Because scientists is going to say, oh, we got him, he's done. Mm-hmm. Did they say anything about the mind? They said imagination. Mm-hmm. Imagination it goes into the mind for you to manifest it through the mind. But imagination is what they can't figure out.
Right. The mind is the mechanism of which these things can happen. Imagination is non-limited. Thought is limited because it's connected to the senses. This is why when you dream, it's easy to dream about things you've done, because when you're in the physical experience, you're gathering information. When you gather information, that allows the imagination to fly and the thought to do what it needs to do, but within limitation.
Right. And even when you go into the dream world, you begin to dream about, but then sometimes you begin to dream about the physical, but then sometimes the imagination comes in, and you start seeing the unseen, doing the undone, and now they wondering like, damn, how the hell did he do that? He said, man, I'll be sitting there daydreaming sometime, man, and just picturing myself running the 4-1 in the 40-yard dash.
Things just pop up in the head. You're trying to make sense. Senses equal limitation of the body. Imagination does not. Imagination is the ability to stretch thought. Because imagination, while you're thinking and saying, well, 2 + 2 = 4, until one day somebody says, 2 + 2, we can make that joint equal 1. People are like, that ain't how that works. That's not how math works, and you kind of ignore it. And then, but the imagination keeps showing it to you, and then one day somebody comes in and says, I found out how to make 2 + 2 = 1. And for you, that's mind-blowing, but in the imagination world, that's not mind-blowing, because its job is to make sure that there's a continuance of access to the unseen.
Yeah. So as we cut this show, we 51 minutes in. As we begin to bring this point home, I just wanted to just get into, before I do my live stream, on some of the things that's going on right now. On some of the events and things that's going on right now in the world. People are afraid. They have certain things out here now where they want you to do, and it's coming to a point where it may be beyond your will. But I want to share information with you guys on things that's presented, but it's not being told to you. Right. It's not being told in mainstream media where most of you will watch. It's there, but you have to search the information behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. I would say the information is there. You have to search it, and then you have to understand how it operates, what's really going on. So I just, I love you guys. I think if you guys study more on what's not being told, you'll have better understanding for what's being told. You have better understanding for what's being told. You want to say something, closing?
I just want to say, keep imagining peoples, stay strong, pay attention to what's going on out here, and make the connections. Brother Marvin.
And remember, I love my people more than they hate themselves, and I pray to the universal creator Most High that these words are enough to inspire you. These words are enough to make you look at yourself in the mirror and make change. These words are enough to make you look at your children and know you have to make change. As Hakeem would say. I know when you came in for information, and when you leave here greater than what you was before you came. I hope that you share this information on all the social media mechanisms that we use to get the message across. It's time that we had a conversation. But we never want to stop Hakeem from imagining and ascending to his higher self. Ascending to himself higher than beyond space and time, beyond consciousness. What is thought? What is consciousness? What is imagination? Why am I able to use these things? This is the things that we should be asking ourselves, our inner self. But we're so inundated with all this bull crap, we don't even think like that.
Right.
If you walk up to somebody and say, hey, I want to go beyond space and time, they'll be like, what? Yeah, I want to go beyond thought, imagination. I want to go beyond consciousness. I want to go beyond what is beyond. Just to be able to see, feel. Can I feel it? Can it be felt? Can it be seen? Can it be experienced? Can beyond the scope of our understanding be experienced? This is what my imagination, where I'm at with my imagination now. Can't speak for you. But because I can think it, because I can imagine it, it has to exist. Because it wouldn't pop in the imagination. See, I killed Freddy Krueger a long time ago. Freddy Krueger came in with his claws, and I stood up to Freddy Krueger and said, "You don't exist." And Freddy had to leave. But you have to kill the Freddy Krueger in your mind to fully exercise your imagination. So remember, I love y'all. Until the next time, peace.